Hi everyone, it's Stephanie.
This is Emily.
And I don't know what I'm wearing today, but it's super cool.
Alright.
Anyways, so today we're going to do a book review, as our typical book reviews, and we're going to do review the book called Porn or Crime by TREVOR Noah. I don't have the book with me because I listened to the audiobook, and
Me as well.
she as well, so we don't have a physical hard copy, but we will put an image here and link down below as always. So yeah, I was recommended by this book by Emily, another one of her rare book recommendations for me, and surprisingly I really like this book. I thought it was like funny. Like, I think also the one I read was narrated by Trevor, so I think he gave that extra like feel and oomph to it that as someone else, like a regular narrator, would not have been able to give. So anyways, what did you think?
Well, since I recommended it to you, I clearly liked it.
Yeah, I know, but like further elaboration, please.
I'm just giving her a hard time. Yeah, so for me, when I first read this book, starting off, I actually wasn't so familiar with Trevor Noah as a comedian or even as an entertainer. I just frankly was more attracted to the idea that it was about a boy whose birth was illegal and inside South Africa, which is always a country of interest to me just because of the whole history behind it. And so he really gave an insider's point of view to how it felt growing up there, and I was really transformed by the story. I didn't realize just how bad things could really get, and just how much some people could really get away with things until this story happened. But overall, like, it was also entertaining despite the heavy topics, because he always presented it in a way where you'd always have like a good scene and then a bad scene, and then he'll always have a punchline because he's overall a comedian. Right,
and there's a lot of humor throughout the book, which is great because it kind of breaks up all like the negative stuff about it. And then you can still, like, the fact that he's still able to find comic relief is very important, I think. But yeah, like, I actually found like a few quotes I like wrote down because I couldn't it's like verbatim. It's not verbatim because it was through audiobook and I didn't want to like rewind like a chapter and like re-listen to the whole thing. But there was one that was really funny.
See, she actually really liked the book. Otherwise, I've never seen her do this before.
So there's one that was like, he was talking about, so one of the story was basically just about it was how like he was trying to take a shit.
Oh yeah.
And then he was like trying to experience. He's like, oh, like, because they had an outhouse, and he was like, yeah, it was like raining, and I don't want to go there, and it's like such a nightmare because he's afraid of like the rattlesnakes or something like that, like down there. Yeah. So I think this one day he was raining, and he was like, no, I'm just gonna take a shit right here in this house. I'm gonna do like a puppy and put out some newspaper and be done. And he didn't realize that like his grandmother was there in the same room. Like, I don't know how he missed her completely, but like there was one thing that he said. He was like, you're never more than yourself when you're taking a shit.
It's true.
And it's true because like he's like, everyone has to take shits, whether or not you're a celebrity or you're like a famous like political figure, but everyone has to go to the bathroom and take a dump. Like, that is the human like thing. And it's like, and he was like, because everyone has to do that, it's kind of like, like, he's also a religious person growing up. So he's like, it was God's way of like telling everyone like, everyone is still human, like, you're not above anyone else, because at the end of the day you still have to do what everyone else has to do, and that's go to the bathroom and take a dump. So I thought that was hilarious. I was just like cracking up for like 5 minutes after that. But anyway, another one was, I don't know where this one came from. It was like, honesty was never the best policy. Oh yeah, okay, I remember this one. So basically it says, honesty was never the best policy when it came to hiding, and hiding as in like, taking a hide as opposed to like hiding something.
Basically getting a spanking.
Yeah, like getting whipped basically. So he was just like, I cannot, because he was honest, he would be like even more like in trouble than if he lied. So I thought it was pretty funny too. Because like it's just interesting to see how much of a whooping that he got growing up. Like, I mean, as an Asian culture too, like, we definitely, I mean, I don't know about you, but I definitely had like, I was definitely spanked.
I mean, especially since you were the eldest, so it was like your parents don't have any other context.
Right.
I'd say that I had occasions like that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But I say that it's so just overall, like, even in like their culture, I think old world culture just has that particular angle to it when it comes to child discipline. But yeah, it was like he made it into like a sort of like comedic like mechanism inside the story, and he was always like, I was such a bad kid, my mom would always have to chase me everywhere. And like I still remember this particular story where he basically has to run for his life, and he was like, they're not going to win against us two, because it was a cat and like dog fight every single day in my household. And so that
with the truck, right, the bus.
Yeah, definitely. So it was I think every single one of his stories was very on point, and despite of all the darker angles to it, he definitely was able to sort of balance it out for the readers. I'd say that my favorite story, I can't say the name like out loud. It was the one about the dancing and like how the teacher misunderstood him and he misunderstood the teacher.
That was hilarious.
But I'm actually going to keep the details a little bit out, because I do want other people to enjoy it as much, because once the joke's like given to you, you don't enjoy it as much. But overall, this story had me laughing for like a good 15 minutes.
It was like, and the thing is like, it was interesting because like in hindsight he was talking about it, like how it started, and he was describing like why that happened. And then when he gets into the story, you're just like, oh my god, like how did you not think about this? And then it's like, okay, I mean, it makes sense, because different cultures have different like boogeymans, basically.
And I'd say that was another good point you made. He doesn't really just leave you with his personal anecdotes. He actually delves deeper into the history and the lineage behind why certain things happen to people. And the story itself, despite of all the humor in it, it's still very much a story about racial cultural identity, because Trevor Noah had to grow up as a half white, half black boy when that did not really exist in a country, or it could not exist. So
it was a crime.
It was to give like a little bit of historical context. It was that if a white male and a black woman were found to have like a product of like an offspring, the black woman would have to be arrested and thrown in jail for 5 years, while like the white male probably would have a record and then have a warning. And the reason, and he basically explains a little bit of why like it was a crime and why it was so severe, and why for most of his childhood he was kind of closeted. He was put away.
And it was interesting because another thing that was interesting for me was how he had a distinction between like the blacks, the colored, and the white.
That is how it is in South America too.
It's I know, but like it's just it was just interesting for me, because I never thought of it like that. It was either like, I guess for me it's more like you're like just by racial distinction. I'm not considered like, are you color, like, because color was apparently for him meant like if you're Asian, or if you're like Indian, or if you're Mexican, or any other color that's not black or white. That's what it means by colored. And I was just like, that's definitely like interesting. I never thought of it like that.
The reason why I'm smiling is that he actually has this really funny segment about that as well, where like in terms of ranking, like people like, I mean I don't really want to spoil it, but in terms of ranking, like color plays a part, and he like goes like, this person can be this thing, this person can be that thing. It doesn't actually matter like if you're actually what your actual color is. You could be like demoted.
Right, you can be demoted.
And then like we were like,
and then you can be promoted if your hair is
and so overall, using the humor definitely very effectively, he completely debunks the validity as well as the effectiveness of apartheid, basically, because it was like, this is ridiculous, like it doesn't make any like logical sense why some of these things are happening, but people are letting it go because it was like, I guess it's kind of like what they grew up in.
And another thing I thought was interesting is the writing style, about how, because I'm assuming he wrote this like years later. So like
when he was famous.
Right, when he was famous. So when he was writing, he kind of gave like insight as to how he is now. And then how that, or like gives reason as to why he's like that now compared like because of his past, or kind of gives like the why now, like the his now, and kind of shed some light into his past. So I thought that was an interesting way of doing things, because I feel like sometimes when writers write about like a memoir, they write solely on that specific like time period. They don't really bring it back to the now and the present day. So
yeah, definitely. I think that's also just to speak to the authenticity of him as, I guess, a spokesperson for every little point that he's made about living in South Africa, living as a mixed child, living in, you know, well, he says himself, he's not a proclaimed ghetto boy.
Yeah.
Basically, in terms of the stuff that's used in the book, but he has lived in a very tumultuous area, and he basically is trying to make sure that like he covers all the bases. So he did really, really well, and I definitely recommend the book to you because I thought it was a good.
Yeah, and like honestly, I would recommend it as like an audiobook.
Okay.
Because I think with him as the narrator, he like I said earlier, it really gives that like extra, punch to it. Yeah, like if it was, as opposed to if it was like a regular, like a hard physical copy where you're basically reading it and using your own voice to narrate it, and it probably wouldn't have much of an impact.
Yeah, his voiceovers for his mom are hilarious. Like, he goes like down, like up so many levels, and it's like really okay. And then some of the scenes that we've mentioned so far that were like unbelievably funny. The voices he used for the teachers. Yeah. Oh my god.
And for Abel, like.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness, like it's just so funny. There's like just so many funny scenes in this book that like I like this. It was what, like an 8-hour audiobook. I listened to it like so quickly. You know, like it didn't take me. Well, also because I was like packing. So like I was just listening to it and giggling to myself and like packing. But
I'm well, she's moving.
Yeah, this is the new place, which is very different. Layouts.
Yes, but I'm glad that made your packing endeavor more fun.
Too bad it didn't help me unpack.
I guess another recommendations along the lines. But yeah, so overall that was our opinions of the book. Feel free to tell us yours as well. Okay.
Definitely my impression.
That spoke for me too.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. In case you've ever read the book or want to read it too as well, let us know in the comments down below. And we also will add links as well as any sort of audiobook, book, or other particular mediums that are available for this particular this novel down below as well. And do you have anything else to add?
Nope. I think that's it.
All right, cool. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.